The Chicago Blackhawks lose their season opener to a team that ain't even got a name. The Chicago Bulls win their preseason opener versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the Chicago Bears are without one of their best defensive players. Big Bro in the building. We're going to talk about all that and more right after the intro. Good morning, Chicago sports fans. Welcome to another episode of Chi-Town Sports Central, the voice of the fans. It's your boy Big Bro in the building. Steve-O Speaks has some things to take care of, so he couldn't join me today, but I'm going to hold it down for the squad. Y'all already know, follow us wherever you get your social media. Chi-Town Sports Central, all the way down to Chicago Bulls, Bears, Sky, Blackhawks, NBA Central, Chicago White Sox, Cubs Central, and the Shy Bulls podcast with the Cognac Gang. Hey, we're excited. We're excited. Hey, and the whole gang is going to be, the whole Chicago Bears Central gang is going to be in the building at Joe's on Weed Street, October 27th. So stay tuned for more information on that. But if you want to kick it with me, Bobby, Steve-O, Hayes, and C-Dub, the best announcer in the game, by the way, come kick it with the gang at Joe's on Weed Street, October 27th for the Bears versus the doggone Washington Commanders game. All right, let's get right into the content, man. The Chicago Blackhawks lose their first game of the season to a team that ain't even got a name. They went to the Delta Center and played the former Arizona, I think it's the former Arizona team that's moved to Utah. They are called the Utah Hockey Club, and the Blackhawks just didn't look good for the entire game. Honestly, they just looked bad. They looked listless out there, and it could have been the fact that this stadium was rocking for the other team. It was a playoff atmosphere. This is the first game in the history of this team. So, I mean, again, they're a expansion team, but they were a team last year. They just moved to a different city. So the people in Utah were hyped, and they jumped all over not the White Sox, but the Blackhawks early, 2-0 in the first period. And then they jumped over him some more in the second period to make it 3-0. Connor Bedard did pick up a couple of assists in this game. He did help the Blackhawks make it at least 3-2 with Seth Jones scoring a goal and Vlasic scoring a goal to make it 3-2 early in the third period. But it was just not enough. The Blackhawks could not pull themselves out of the hole. It just didn't look like they were really prepared. And frankly, if you paid attention to them in the preseason, they were looking listless then. They were getting blown out throughout the course of the preseason. I think they only won one game in all of the preseason, but at least they fought last night and made it 3-2. But Utah scored on an empty netter to make it 4-2 to put the game away, and then they scored an extra goal just to put the nail further into the coffin to end up with the final score of 5-2. But yeah, so I'm not gonna even pretend like I'm a big hockey fan. I do know a little bit about it. I was a big fan, of course, when the Blackhawks were winning 3 championships in 5 years with all the good guys that were there with Shannon Sharp and so on and so forth. Well, I say Shannon Sharp, but Duncan Keith and all of those guys. But at the end of the day, it's not my area of expertise, but we do report on Chicago sports here, and we do have regular season hockey. If you want to keep up with the Blackhawks, go ahead and follow Chicago Blackhawks Central. The guys over there definitely hold it down, and they'll be able to give you more insight and detail on the Blackhawks. But I do not like the fact that they lost their home opener to a team that don't even got a name in the Utah Hockey Club. All right, so a team that did win last night, though, was the Chicago Bulls, and they did not necessarily look good doing it in terms of the starters, but they did get the win last night over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Bulls 116, Cleveland 112, and it was basically the reserves that came in and did the work to get it done. Patrick Williams, we'll just start with him. he did not look good in 13 minutes of play. 2 for 6 from the field, 0 for 2 from three, 3 rebounds and 1 assist. He was a minus 18 on the plus minus, and that is by far the worst on the team yesterday. He just looked like he just, you know, I would like to see him come out there and play like he just signed a $90 million contract, but he didn't look like that. And I know it's only the preseason. I know it's the first game of the preseason. But what I'm tired of with Patrick Williams is seeing this man every summer. Oh my God, he's in pro-ams. Oh my God, he's getting better. He's working on this. He's working on that. And eventually coming into the season and just not being aggressive for a number 4 overall pick. He's one of those guys that AK has fallen in love with, doesn't want to move off of him, and he rewarded him with a $90 million contract. He's going to have to go out there and prove it, because waiting in the wings, and we'll get back to it later, is Matis Buzelis. Matis Buzelis played well last night. The rookie did, but we'll stick with the starters right now. Nikola Vucevic was 6 for 10 with 10 rebounds. He did get his basic double-double, 12 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists. But he defensively, man, he is currently still the liability that he always has been in his tenure with the Chicago Bulls. It's like he gets a half a step slower every single season, and last night was no different for Nikola Vucevic. He was getting bicked up. He was getting beat up on the pick and roll, the high pick and roll. He just can't move his feet. And Evan Mobley and the rest of the Cleveland Cavaliers was feasting on him, just to be frank. And the crazy part is, when we were looking at the highlight of last week training camp, when Matis Buzelis caught the oop pass from Lonzo Ball, who didn't play last night, by the way. The first thing I noticed was the person that dunk was on was Nikola Vucevic. If the Chicago Bulls are going to be better than their 27.5 over under, it's going to have to take Vucevic playing a little bit better defense or coming off the bench for Jalen Smith, who we'll get into later. Now, who look like they're ready for the season to start right now? Kobe White was one of them. 7 for 15 from the field, 3 for 7 from three, 4 for 6 from the free throw line. He did have 3 rebounds and 3 assists, 21 points to lead all Bulls. That guy is ready to take another step forward and maybe sniff an all-star appearance. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. But Kobe White, with no DeMar DeRozan, is going to have to pick up some slack in the scoring department, and I think he's capable of doing it. We saw him do it. Hopefully he doesn't hit a wall, but we'll see if he can stay healthy. He might be one of those all-star reserves in the Eastern Conference, depending on how the Bulls start, of course. Zach LaVine is back. He was out for the majority of last season. We all know the history. He definitely was trying to get traded. The Bulls were trying to trade him, and nobody wanted him. So now he's back on the roster. 18 minutes played, 3 for 8 from the field, 1 for 4 from three, 2 assists and 1 steal, 7 points for him. Not bad. It was a preseason game. He was aggressive. He's trying to knock a little bit of the rust off. I'm expecting Zach LaVine to be Zach LaVine, 20 plus points when the season starts. But let's see if he can be efficient and be a leader to these young guys, because speaking of the young guys, the Chicago Bulls are full on into their youth movement. And we're going to start with the first debut of a new player, and that's Josh Giddey, over from the Oklahoma City Thunder, traded for Alex Caruso in the offseason. And the Chicago Bulls, they got them one. This guy is a baller. I don't care what nobody says about him shooting threes, so on and so forth. That'll come. He's only 21 years old. He'll figure it out. We saw it happen with Rajon Rondo. We saw it happen with Jason Kidd. If he puts the work in, he can get there. Hell, we even seen one of the Lopez brothers start hitting threes as his career went on. So if he could do it, Josh Giddey can do it. Josh Giddey, 5 for 11 from the field, 0 for 3 from three, 1 for 2 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. Only 1 turnover, 11 points for him last night. He looked good. Not going to front. He looked good getting the floor offense going. He's attacking the basket. He's getting his teammates involved. And he's grabbing rebounds. We're going to need that from him this year. We're going to need it from everybody, especially with Andre Drummond gone. Nikola Vucevic is going to be out there to get his typical 10 rebounds a game, but the rest of these guys are going to have to do what they got to do as well. Speaking of another young guy that the Bulls decided to invest in this offseason, somebody that could push Vucevic for a starting spot, that's Jalen Smith. 4 for 10 from the field, 0 for 4 from three. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Him and Vooch combined to go 0 for 6 from 3. He did go 3 for 4 from the free throw line, was showing that he's aggressive getting to the line. And then he did have 10 rebounds in only 17 minutes off the bench, 11 points. So, hey, 11 points, 10 rebounds, double-doubles for both of our big men. You got to like to see it. Maybe we'll see some Twin Tower lineups from the Chicago Bulls this season, like we saw with Drummond and Vooch a few times last year. Dalen Terry, Mr. Tryhard, Mr. Crash Bandicoot himself, with 6 points off the bench to go along with 4 assists and 4 rebounds, 2 steals. The Bulls picked up his player option this year. I do expect him to get some tick, and let's see how he does on the everyday roster, not bouncing up and down from the G League. Now, the rookie made his debut last night, Matis Buzelis, 12 points and 5 rebounds and 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block off the bench. When I tell you that this guy looks like he one of them ones, he is. He said that he wants to win Rookie of the Year, and if he plays this season, because we know how Billy Donovan does, he likes to work rookies into the rotation. But if he has regular rotational minutes, I expect this guy to definitely be at least in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. He does it all. He's a 3-level scorer. He can shoot the 3. He can shoot the mid-range. He got the float game. He is not afraid of any smoke. That guy is willing to attack the basket. It doesn't matter who's under there, whether it's Evan Mobley or Victor Wembanyama. He's trying to put it on your head. He did get a breakaway dunk last night. I wanted him to do like a quick windmill or something, but he ain't do it. It's all good, though. Good for him. Looked good in his preseason debut. And we got to shout out Julian Phillips. Second season for him. He looked good. He's going to have to be one of those corner 3 guys, come out there and play defense, but he did get 9 points, 4 rebounds off the bench. And Taylor Horton Tucker is definitely stealing minutes from somebody, whether it's Jalen Carter, whether it's Bateem, somebody is going to lose minutes with this guy, Taylor Horton Tucker, because he's a scorer. They were talking about it last night on the Shy Bulls podcast. If you missed the live call, go ahead and check out C-Dub and Bobby. But hey, they were talking about how this dude is only 23 years old, and he's been in the league for about 4 or 5 years now at this point, and he looked like he about 40, but he's a scorer. 4 for 11 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3, and we're gonna talk about that in a second. But he did have 8 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and he's showing that he's a professional. Now, Bateem came in, didn't give you much. Sonogo came in, didn't give you much. But Ayo Dosunmu, he's ready. He's ready. I forgot all about him. I should have talked about him earlier because he came off the bench and came and gave the Bulls a spark when they were looking like they were about to get blown out by the Cleveland Cavaliers, the starters and the early reserves. He was first off the bench, came in, gave you 10 points, 4 for 9 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. We know what he's going to do. He's going to play that Alex Caruso role. He's going to be out there playing defense, pestering the other team, and getting things going. We already know that once he got the ball in his hands, as Dub likes to say, coast to coast. He's getting to that basket, getting to that rack. Chris Duarte came in and put up 6 shots, made one of them, 5 points for him. And then Stewart came in, didn't do much either. So, hey, Chicago Bulls got the win. But I will say this, 8 for 40 from 3, mm-mm. Mm-mm. Something gotta give. I'm not trying to watch another 82 games where the Chicago Bulls have putrid shooting from the outside, where they're last in the league from outside. Can we see some type of improvement from the 3-point line? Because you cannot survive in today's NBA climate without making 3-pointers. I don't care if you're a homer or not. I don't care how you feel about the Chicago Bulls. If they can't make the 3 consistently, they will not surpass that 27 and a half mark in terms of their over under. All right, so the Bulls got their preseason started. Blackhawks got their season started. The Bears are going into the second half or the first half of their season, if that makes any type of sense. And they're headed over to London with the Blokes to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars this Sunday. Early game, so don't sleep. All right, you got to get up early. The game starts, I believe, at 8:30 over on NFL Network. So do not sleep. And by the way, Chicago sports is hard to find right now. I think you got to buy an antenna to watch the Bulls and the Blackhawks and so on and so forth. So if you don't know how to watch the games, I think you got to go get one of them old school antennas from Radio Shack. Is Radio Shack still a thing? or I guess Best Buy or something like that, or just order it off Amazon, because that's the only way you're gonna be able to watch the games without going to one of those touring sites. But back to the Chicago Bears, they're 3-2, looking to have an actual winning streak. I'm not one of those people that think 2 wins is a winning streak. I think it's 3 wins and above. This is how I feel. But I get it if you think 2 wins is a winning streak. This is how you feel. But to get this streak, keep this going and start a true winning streak, they're going to have to do so without Jaquan Brisker, who is in concussion protocol. And if you missed it last week, it happened on his forced fumble late in the second quarter against the Jacksonville Jaguars, in which he basically went head to head with the tight end. The tight end was out. He was out for a second, but he got up and finished the game. He said he didn't feel any symptoms until Monday, which kept him from traveling with the team to London. And now he's not with the team. He will be out going into the bye week. And he should be back after the bye week when the Bears go into the tough part of their schedule. Now, with that said, it's next man up. We already know what Jaquan Brisker brings to the team. 23 solo tackles, 1 interception, 2 pass breakups, and 1 forced fumble. Also, he goes out there and lays the wood and tries to knock people out every time he hits somebody. So we know what he does, and teams fear him. They know what's happening from him, coming from him for as a safety. But backup safety Jonathan Owens, aka Mr. Simone Biles, is also pretty good at that position. So I'm expecting him to go out there and there to not be too much of a drop off from him and Jaquan Brisker versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars are trying to right their ship and they're trying to win some games. It's not going to be an easy game for the Chicago Bears by any stretch of the imagination. As much as the Jacksonville Jaguars are somewhat of a laughing stock of the NFL, they do have weapons just like any NFL team. The Chicago Bears have shown that they can be soft in the run and run defense. So we don't want to see them giving up much rushing yards to those guys. They have been known to be soft in coverage in terms of playing zone defense. So we don't want Trevor Lawrence out there picking them apart in that zone and moving the ball down the field. Now, we know our defense is pretty good in terms of our secondary, but you're down a man, and Jonathan Owens is going to have to go out there and fill some pretty big shoes. But I expect the Bears to be all right. I expect them to be all right. There are no excuses. So let's go get this win on Sunday without Jaquan Brisker going to the bye week feeling good. And one last time, speaking of the Bears, the Chicago Bears Central crew will be at Joe's on Weed Street in Chicago for the game versus Washington on October 27th. $25 entry fee. More info to come. If you follow Chicago Bears Central, you'll definitely be hearing more information about that. All right, guys. Y'all already know. Let us know what y'all think down below in the comments about the Chicago Blackhawks losing to the nameless Utah team. I still can't get over that. They were, I think they were only the fourth team in NHL history to win their first game ever, something like that. And you know, the NHL been around forever. And then the Chicago Bulls get a preseason opening win. But how do you really feel about the Chicago Bulls? How do you feel about the starters? How do you feel about the young players? How you feel about our rookie? And how you feel about Josh Giddey? So let us know what you're thinking about the Chicago Bulls down below in the comments, and also how you feel about Jaquan Brisker not making the trip to London. Does this really mean much for the Chicago Bears, or should they still beat a team in the Jacksonville Jaguars who they are better than, at least on paper? All right, y'all already know what it is. Hit us up. Let us know what y'all think, and we're going to holler at you guys next time. Peace.